really excited that you guys are all here, and the city of Palm Coast is really trying to embrace a technology-first mindset. We also have our own municipal broadband utility, which, as you guys understand, is something that's rare in any city to have across the country, but it's also something that is a main bloodline of everything that you and I do for our careers. And if we don't have opportunities to get quality broadband access, we can't work from home, and we all know that the future is telecommuting, so that's why I got involved with city politics. I'm interested in pushing forward that initiative and trying to get the entire city of Palm Coast hooked up to fast broadband access so that we can work remotely. I know that if I'm on a cell phone connection and I'm trying to pull something up, maybe I might as well be sitting on the beach with no one in their home. So thank you guys for being here, and I'm going to be talking to every team. I've heard some great ideas so far, but I would love to interact with everybody, so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
It's really refreshing to see a counselor talking about tech that much. Thank you. My name is Dr. Karthik Umapati. I go by Karthik. I'm a professor at the University of North Florida in Jacksonville. So most of the things I do on the website, but I've attended many of these events before, so I will be able to help you guys to which ideas to pick and how to convert those ideas into actual solutions and what is realistically possible to do in events like this. And I work with a lot of with profit, non-profits, public sector organizations too, so kind of will be able to judge what will work, what won't work. On technical side of the things, I will be able to answer any of the how do you develop web solutions, how do you develop cross-platform solutions, and what you have to do in realistically getting things done, kind of the things. So I'll be making notes and happy to answer any questions you can send. Thanks.
My name is Chris Bruce. I work for Coastal Cloud, Salesforce consulting firm here locally. I've been with Coastal Cloud for 6 years. I don't specialize in health cloud per se. I work in the public sector, so mostly government work. However, it's all the same. The back end minus the data architecture, right? So I can help you with declarative work. I can help you with most programmatic work, API integrations, things of that nature. I'm here to help. I'm only here till 1, so if you have any Salesforce related questions, please reach out to me. I'm working with this team over here to kind of resolve one particular issue. But other than that, I'm here to help.
I am Matt Happ. I'm the Director of Marketing for Coastal Cloud. So I think I introduced myself earlier about what I do, but in terms of my Salesforce skills, a lot of declarative stuff, I'm familiar with Health Cloud from a high-level perspective, but I do some admin work and my personal build experience. I built a sort of pseudo Health Cloud solution. So I didn't use Health Cloud, but I used Service Cloud, Sales Cloud to build veterinary software for my wife's practice. So I've encountered some of the same challenges we're doing for humans, but I did for dogs. But if you just replace the dog with a patient, then I can help you. So I did that, and I triggered notifications and all sorts of things to run the practice. So if you have any questions, that's kind of my expertise. But I run marketing, so I'm a good storyteller, and I can tell you guys how to pitch for sure. I'm here for a couple more hours, so I can help you in that way. And then the Slack channel, I hope that's been successful for some folks too. And I know some of our higher tech folks are on that Slack channel. Yeah. So some of the higher technical questions like API, and hopefully we're getting those answered from the mentors that are online.
Great. And I also want to introduce Blake Kershaw. Blake works for the city here, and he does a lot of stuff in helping integrate Salesforce into some of our things. And so while he's here, he's also a great resource. He's had to do a lot of this kind of stuff, and I'm just introducing him because he's here and he's helping with this event, and I know he's also a great resource for people. Also, Blake and I, we were just talking a little bit ago, we have some big TV monitors that are on wheels that we can roll out for any of you groups that would like to use that kind of stuff. We can either get them over here or they're over in the other workspace. If you're interested in one of those, let us know. We'll get you fixed up with that. Also, we're working on getting the Tech Bus fired up out back. And we have some people come over that can show all the bells and whistles and what that thing is capable of. If you're interested, let us know. Cool. So we want to get together and start having some talks. Okay, cool. So I guess the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get Mr. Gaspar here to start giving us a talk. He's gonna talk to us a few minutes about the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah, so Salesforce's point of view on healthcare and the fourth industrial revolution, and is Holly here presenting from the Access line?
How quickly can we report the login?
Just waiting for it. It's on Holly's device. Yes.
It should come up on all the monitors around the story.
Thank you, Holly. So, as I call it, are we like going to use this microphone?
It would be better for folks that are,
Oh, okay.
your live stream to stand further back.
Oh, okay.
You're on camera, Michael.
I didn't know that. Okay, so I have to stand over here inside of this glass cage, but that's okay. As I said earlier, my name is Michael Gaspar. I'm an account executive at Salesforce, specializing in the healthcare and life sciences space. And before I begin, and I think you guys have heard this a lot this week thus far, but it bears repeating, and it's thank you for improving the healthcare of others. Whether you are a provider in this space, provide direct care, you indirectly work in this space, or you support the people that work in this space, thank you. I was talking to Don last night, and just if you'll allow me an anecdote about myself, I spent 6 years as an active duty Air Force officer, and I still serve as a reserve officer and a headquarters staff. And what I found throughout my military career is that the bigger the problem, so something like healthcare, and solving the problems inside of it, the more people it takes to solve those problems. So if we look at the world around us, it's hard, healthcare is a big enough problem, it's too complex to not have to worry about, is there running water, does electricity work? To see a city and to see an organization and people like you coming together in a space that is fostering this kind of thing, investing in it, I think is really important, so thank you for doing that. So, Klaus Schwab is the founder of the World Economic Forum, a renowned economist, and he wrote a book called The Fourth Industrial Revolution. And most of us probably remember from history class the First Industrial Revolution. And what Dr. Schwab means by this, he defines Industrial Revolution in this way, as new technologies and novel ways of perceiving the world that change economic structures and social structures. So the first industrial revolution, if we think about it, we achieved steam, right? It's like the big thing of the first industrial revolution. And for the first time, distance was no longer a hindrance to human beings. You could move people and goods further and faster than ever before. In the second industrial revolution, we achieved the sciences and things like electricity. So now time really wasn't a factor. We could create our own daylight, essentially, which revolutionized the way we work as a society. We've now emerged from the third industrial revolution, which was the digital technology revolution, right? And that's impacting everything we do today. The fact that we can work from home is a result of the digital revolution. And now the ideas, the thoughts, the things that were too complex for individuals to work on, or even small teams to work on, we can now aggregate across all of human society like never before. The fourth industrial revolution, we believe at Salesforce, is about human connection. Connections between each other and connections with the world around us. So all of us right now probably have some sort of device that is connected to all of human knowledge. This is phenomenal what we can do now, and this is the technology that we are driving forth. This is impacting every industry healthcare, some healthcare leaders might think it's not coming from them, but it certainly is, and we'll show you why. So there are widespread changes affecting the healthcare industry, right? And as you guys went around discussing some of your ideas and solutions, you already touched on a lot of these, so if you'll permit me a little bit of time here. Look at societies, look at cultures, look at countries around the globe. Concentrated populations, especially in the West, are getting older and older. On top of that, chronic morbidities or diseases that stay with people throughout their lives are increasing like never before. So healthcare providers, payer organizations, medical device companies have to compete against all of that. Now add a layer on to that in that the traditional healthcare market is seeing new entrants that have different ways of thinking about the world. So Walmart and CVS are converting low-margin retail space into high-margin clinics that provide everything from x-rays, dental care, and eye care. So the moat that once was the clinic wall or the hospital wall is breaking down. And healthcare organizations who don't realize that are going to find themselves competing as a commodity, which means they're competing on price and not the services that they provide. On top of that, throughout the United States especially, as demographics and population shift, providers and hospital networks are closing in rural communities, and then larger organizations are acquiring various facilities and shutting down. Streamlining business models, but arguably impacting care for people that need it most. New delivery models are also coming online, right? So think of telemedicine. Think of organizations now provide care in home because of the technology that we can provide to people. And then you add on the layer, kind of my favorite one, patient demands. In Salesforce, especially in the service and engagement side of things, we talk about your best experience anywhere becomes your expectation of service everywhere. So people are asking themselves now, if I can track my package from Amazon or Adidas to get my shoes or my jeans or my new technology right to my door, get notifications about where it is in the shipping process, why can't I figure out my healthcare bit? Why is it so difficult to ask questions to my provider in the healthcare space when literally I fly a lot for work, I can talk to the airline on my mobile phone anytime I want to, 24/7, get my questions answered. Now driving all of that is this quest for interoperability, right? Healthcare organizations sit on a tremendous amount of data as you guys are trying to figure out now how to use those data sets, but oftentimes they're siloed and disassociated with each other. To drive the innovations around patient demand that are going to drive the next revolution in healthcare, these silos have to break down or at the very least get connected to each other. Unfortunately, this would have been solved if the matter was not complex, right? So yes, we all recognize that we want personal care and it has to be scalable, but it has to be scalable, right? So I kind of think of it as think of luxury goods, right, or something like that. It would be awesome if I could put a healthcare concierge in everyone's home. That would be the ultimate solution to this problem. But guess what? We don't have infinite resources. Learning the people to do that is really, really expensive. But with technology, with our mobile devices, can we put a healthcare advisor in everyone's home? Conceivably, yes, we can. That's a scalable solution. We know that we have to be collaborative and connected, but in healthcare especially, there are legal and ethical ramifications to how we talk with that information, right? And so at Salesforce, we like to talk about trust is our #1 value. And if you listen to Mark Benioff talk, our CEO and founder, we live in a world where trust is very important. I think all of us are technology-savvy people. We recognize that there is this angst in society about what technology companies are doing with our data. And especially when it comes to healthcare, right? So I'm not talking about, at one point in my life when I was younger, I used to have a size 28 waist, right? I don't anymore. I'm not really concerned about that you guys know that. But there are very personal and private things about my body, my mental health, and things like that no one needs to know unless it's absolutely necessary for my care. And so as you look at your solutions, remember that it's not just providing level of care. People have to trust you with this data. And that's vitally important as we move forward. So what people want in the new healthcare world, right? They're going to want individual attention. They're going to want complete health records. We want access on any device, 24/7 access to those services. I'll tell 2 quick stories here. I told you earlier that I fly a lot for work, right? So I can get dropped off at the airport, walk to my gate in under 5 minutes usually. I only have to talk to 2 people, 2 human beings, to get on the tram from the main terminal in Tampa International Airport and then the TSA agent. But for some reason, when I go to my eye doctor, who I've gone to for the past 5 years, I fill out the same paperwork over and over and over again, even though I've had the exact same insurance policy for the past 5 years. This is a clinic that serves, it's a small clinic in Tampa, probably has a patient census of less than 500 people. I know my doctor, but his front staff doesn't know me. But somehow Delta Airlines and the TSA all are able to process me through an airport, which ostensibly impacts national security, in under 5 minutes. Not that long ago, early this year, my wife had a female health appointment, and she went to the main facility in downtown Tampa, which is a USF campus, right? She called me 30 minutes after her appointment started in tears because she couldn't find the office for her provider in a hospital 3 miles from our house. But yet when we travel the world together, I can walk through a foreign country, not know the language, and find a restaurant on a side alley, never get lost, and be able to translate the menu and talk to the server. But for some reason, a major hospital network can't help my wife find her office. That's a problem, and we have to fix that. And hopefully you see that these particular focus areas here, they are the underlying challenges of the challenges that you're solving, or trying to solve, I should say, right? So helping patients better understand their care. How are you going to do this? You have to have access to the complete health record. You can't help me understand my care, for those of you who are trying to educate people on what they need to do for their care plans or post-op care for their surgery, if you don't know what happened to them. And if people are going to understand their care, we do that today in the real world, right? We give it, I don't have my paper with me, but if you ever had a procedure done, they give you a stack of papers. Here, you had this done today, here's your care plan. We'll call you in 24 hours to make sure that things are okay. After I've had a surgery, I'm really not interested in what you're saying to me. I have other things going on. My wife is concerned about me or trying to get home. It's a lot to process for her where I put that folder of papers right now. But all of that can be carried on our mobile devices. And our devices are with us 24/7. So if I had a question about education, I should be able to access that anywhere. And then the personalized treatment, individual attention. You can't understand care if it's not personalized, right? If you look at me, I self-identify as a male. I'm also genetically a male. There's no way that pregnancy impacts high blood pressure for me. But genetically, I know my family has a history of high blood pressure. So don't send me information that's not pertinent to my care. Another kind of commercial example, but I use obviously a broadband internet company in my house. I always get advertisements in Spanish because my last name is Gaspar. I do not speak Spanish, my family is Filipino. I find it personally insulting. First of all, it's like, Michael, you're stupid, you don't know Spanish. Second of all, you don't know me well enough to know that it's not my primary language. So why would I ask for more services from your cable company if you don't know me as a consumer? Healthcare is much more personal than we watch on TV or how fast I can stream Netflix or Disney Plus because I love The Mandalorian. Right? This has to be better. Connecting health data. Obviously this is how you complete health records, but if you want to connect people to care on any device anywhere, like we talked about earlier, we have to be thinking about how we get to people's mobile devices. We live in a mobile-first world. Salesforce is now designed to be a mobile-first platform. All of our technologies work on mobile solutions, everything from chat to Einstein, all of that can run on someone's mobile device. Accessing that information, giving them what they need, where they are, and when they are. And then lastly, I think this is really important, it's keeping costs down, right? I happen to think, and you can disagree, that everyone deserves access to healthcare, right? This is a human dignity issue. This isn't trying to create some sort of luxury market. We can't allow ourselves to live in a world where healthcare is a luxury-driven service. And technology can solve that solution, right? Or it can be that solution. We can connect people to these things. When I talk to clients, and some of them like in the behavioral health space, they're dealing with people in critical need. But yet people in critical need, if you look at the data, anecdotally people like to say well, older communities don't use mobile devices, right? Poor communities don't use mobile devices. The data bears out otherwise. The majority of people have access to a mobile device. The majority of people have access to some sort of internet service, however slow or fast it may be. But if we're gonna provide care, if we're gonna solve problems for people, we have to meet them where we are. We can no longer live in this world as providers or healthcare, or members of the healthcare industry and think, people will come to us with their problems. Because here's, and this is maybe the military officer in me, you have to control what I'll call the battle space. If you don't get people information about their healthcare, if you don't help them figure out their problems, they're gonna find those solutions elsewhere, right? How many people have ever Googled like a healthcare condition? I know I have, right? My mom's a nurse, but I still like Google, like, why is my blood pressure high? How do I keep my blood pressure down? Why am I asking Google that information and not asking my healthcare provider? Do you know why? Because it's too hard to get in hold of my doctor. Yeah, it's a cost issue, but with artificial intelligence, with communities, with the way that the thing, when we talk about like Walmart or Amazon and things like that, entering the healthcare space, they think of healthcare, they will think of healthcare as a retail exchange. Because they know they have to serve their customer to get business. And that's the consumerization, retailization are coming into healthcare faster than ever before. These principles will get applied to the healthcare industry. And ultimately, when I talk about human dignity, this is about going away from transactional relationships and more human engagement, right? And there's sometimes this tension when we talk about this that, you know, technology is divorcing us from humanity. And I happen to disagree with that. I happen to believe, and I think Salesforce would agree with me, that technology actually brings us together, right? You know, another example, when I've talked to some clients, like, well, we don't want to use an artificial intelligence in a chat solution or a text solution because we want people to connect with the person right away. But if any of you have heard that in any other service interaction, I say, like, but if I have to explain my problem 10 different times to 10 different people, that's not creating a human connection. I don't care if I talk to 10 people. The first time I talk to a person, I want my problem solved. It's just the world that we live in today because we can do that with every other organization I work with. There's no reason that run rate transactional information exchanges can't happen in some sort of artificial intelligence sense. That will happen in healthcare, that trend is certainly coming, but ultimately, as you think of your solutions, you know, when I talk to people, it's not either or, right? I can sell you, and I'd love to, $1 trillion worth of technology, right? It would make everyone's day at Salesforce, or any organization. But technology alone does not solve the problem. Conversely, if you hire the greatest people in the world but don't give them the process and the tools to be effective in their jobs, you're wasting your most valuable resource as people. And then lastly, the process piece. If you don't give people the empowerment to do what they need to do, then you've really squandered an opportunity there. So then I'll close again by saying thank you for what you guys are doing here. Certainly for members of city government and the city administration who are investing in this, your community partners. No matter what role you play in this organization, in this kind of event, you are helping solve a tremendous problem in our world, and for that I thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Yeah. While Michael's around here for the rest of the time that he's here today, please take advantage of him. He's a great resource. He's been a great partner for me, and we're going to put this event together, and I thank him for being here. I'm going to get Matt Hauk up here. You think you don't want to talk anymore? This is just time. You don't want to talk anymore?
Well, I just want to make sure everybody's getting the support they need, honestly. So we're trying to get some more people on the Slack channel, trying to call more resources in. How's everybody doing in terms of getting started? If you guys give me like a hand raise if you've got some significant issues you need to work through. Just looking at the Salesforce. Okay, so everybody's on a good track. Does anybody have any questions about the healthcare market or want to tune in their story? I can kind of help you personally. I know I've talked to a few of you. Okay. I think my ad hoc, earlier intros were probably helpful. All right, cool.
So I know pretty soon here, we're going to have our yoga person back. She's going to come in and kind of help you guys do some stretching and everything. And then we're going to have some lunch pretty quick. I saw the lunch people out there putting everything together. So have a good time. Enjoy your afternoon. And later we get to do some fun things like drone races and that kind of thing outside. Maybe I'll race one of you.